Dear Past Me. A few weeks ago I went to my college orientation and there was a lot beforehand that I was really nervous about, and it was mostly because I didn't know what to expect. So I thought I would just sort of go on a little rant about everything that happened and just talk about my experience and some tips, some things that I wish I had brought, some things I wish I had did or not been so afraid to ask, and hopefully just help someone else who may be going to orientation soon or within the next few years or anything like that. Just maybe get an idea of what to expect so it's not so nerve-wracking. Right when I got there, I grabbed my suitcase, got it out of the car, and my mom sort of followed me just so we could figure out what building to go to, because on our little, we basically had like a brochure, I guess you want to say, and it was very short. It just had a few things on it just to get us started, and it just said that everyone was going to meet in the building where we'd be sleeping, and then we were going to go to like a little orientation seminar. And so right when I got to the building, there were huge signs on the window that said no parents beyond this point. So I was like, alright, so much for my mom getting to like help me carry this giant suitcase up the stairs, and for really getting to say goodbye because my dad was still in the car. But I was just like, alright, bye Mom, let's go. And I think that's actually a really good idea. It caught me off guard a little bit, but there were other kids around me who their parents were like so afraid to let them go and were giving them a million reminders and just completely like smothering them. So I actually think that was a really good idea that they basically broke us apart from our families right then and there, gave us our independence to start our day, and from there we were on our own to figure out where our room was and how to get to the orientation seminar and all of that. So I thought that was really good to just throw us right in there and give us that freedom to sort of figure things out like we'll have to do in college. So as soon as I got up to the front desk, almost, I guess you could say, they had in that building, they kind of signed me in, gave me a room key, and like this lunch swipe card ID, I don't really know what to call it, this little card that I could use to swipe into the dining halls to get my meals. And then they gave me, like I said, they gave me like a little key and just a folder of information and told me that my room was on the 3rd floor and the number, and good luck. So I went up in the elevator because, like I said, I had a giant suitcase. And luckily for me, I am very directionally challenged, and lucky for me, my door was like in view of the little room outside the elevator, because I don't even remember what number I was, but say I was like 356, 352 was like right when he came out of the elevator, so I knew like right there would be my room. So thank God, because I am, like I said, I'm directionally challenged, and even when there's signs, that is not my forte. That sounds really, like, I sound so stupid when I say that, but I would have had a lot of trouble with that. So luckily, I was able to find my room, and I got there, and no one was there yet, so I just threw my suitcase there, and I had, like a little backpack almost, a smaller one from like Target, that I just threw like a water bottle, some snacks, a sweatshirt. They gave us like these lanyards and ID cards, so I put that on, and I left the rest in there, and I went on the next adventure, which was to find the orientation room. However, that was not going to be easy, because I got in the elevator and pressed level 1, like the button for 1, and I was like, alright, cool. And I get to level 1, and there's like all dorm rooms and nowhere to get out. Like, I walked in a complete circle like 2 or 3 times trying to find a door, and I was like, alright, this is not the main level. Okay, whatever. So then I went back in the elevator and I hit G, which I was like, alright, that's like ground level. You know, I went with that. And I found myself in a basement. And that was like, I was scared to death because it was like dark and creepy basement. And I was like, okay, I am totally wrong here. So I just went back up to the 3rd floor. I was done trying buttons. And apparently the like ground level floor there was M. And I did not know that. That should have been like in an information packet because that freaked me out completely. So after I was done with my dumb elevator and room finding moments. I luckily met up with a group of girls like in the lobby who none of us really knew where that next like auditorium was for our next seminar, so we all decided to take our maps, go out into the world, and find it all together so that we, at least when you're in a group, you don't look as stupid looking around for something as you do alone. So that was our next game plan, and we went, and luckily we were able to find the auditorium, and we all came together and we sat in a row so that we were all new best friends because we had gotten lost together, and that was bonding us for life now. So in that little intro seminar, there were all these guest speakers. I think there was like a representative from the different colleges within the school, and they just all sort of gave like a little intro talk about who they were, introduced themselves. There were some PowerPoint presentations. There was like a video that all of the tour guides had made, and that was really cool. And that was just basically like a nice big intro. Some parents definitely snuck into that, which I found kind of funny. And so we watched that, and then we, from there, got into groups that were based on our major. So I'm a marketing student, but my group was just all of the business students. And the craziest thing was this girl, Bianca, who I had originally talked to on Facebook as a potential roommate. And it didn't work out because she was going to be living in a different building than me, but we still became good friends. We were able to finally meet for the first time because she is also a business student, so that was super awesome. We got to meet and spend the 2 days of orientation together, which, like I said, was really awesome to finally meet her face to face after talking to her for months. And so we became really fast friends in our group, and everyone just sort of started mingling and getting together, and from there we decided to take a tour of the entire campus. So being the total UConn nerd that I am, I have toured that campus so many times, but still there are always new places to sort of explore and different ways to get to buildings, so I really thought that it was a good idea to take a thorough tour and to start learning how to get from like a certain building to another in like under 5 minutes, because some classes the connection time is super quick and you have to like bolt out of there and go straight to the next class. So my tour guide was really cool about that, and so we just basically walked around, and definitely my best tip for this would be to ask any questions that you may have to your tour guide. They are there to help you. They want you to ask them questions because it's actually really awkward if they keep asking if anyone has questions and just everyone stares at them blankly, and they feel like they're rambling on if they just keep talking the entire time. So definitely ask them questions. That's what they're there for. And my second tip about going on a tour is that's kind of a little bit of free time. I mean, you still have to stay with your group and you have to be walking wherever your group's going, but it's a great time to start to mingle with some of the other people in your group and make some awesome new friends. After that, I'm pretty sure we went into this room and broke off a little more specifically by major. Like I think I got with all of my marketing, and maybe management was with us, and we met our advisor. So that was really cool to get to talk to her a little bit, and she gave us a little presentation, and we got little pens that said our major. I don't know, I really liked that. And just again, there's a bunch more kind of intro stuff. From there, by far, best part of the day, lunch. We got to go to the dining hall where there's just like rows and rows of buffets, like everywhere you can see. It is a giant circle of just food. And we just had to swipe in with our little food cards, and we had like an hour to just get food everywhere. And they have like a fountain soda dispenser, and it has a blue Powerade at the end, which is my absolute favorite. And oh my god, I was in heaven just going around and getting food. And they had them in pretty small portions, which I really liked because I just wanted to try everything. So like they had like halves of grilled cheeses and like pizza slices that were cut, I don't even know how to describe it, like super thin, like seriously like this tiny. So you could just try the different types of pizzas. There were salads, sandwich stuff, like anything you can imagine getting from a restaurant. I think there was even like barbecue chicken. I think there was tacos too, like crazy amounts of food. And it was just, we could grab whatever we wanted. So exciting. And that was all a blur. I was in food heaven, and so good, so good. Now, I'll be honest, as excited as I was to go to orientation and as much fun as I did have, there are a lot of really boring parts. we spent the rest of the afternoon in these giant lecture halls with people just talking about financial aid and all these different forms that we had to get filled in by certain dates, and they talked so fast at some points that I was just like, what are you even saying? And me and Bianca actually took out like notebooks and started taking notes on stuff because we were like, there's no way that we are possibly ever going to remember this. So if you are someone who definitely wants to double check things and make lists, I would recommend bringing a notebook and a pen just so you can kind of keep track of everything they're saying. There's like these, I don't even know what to really call them. They call them like online classes for taking out loans. So if you're going to get a loan from the school, you have to like take this course online. I would have never known that I had to do that. And so just writing down the websites and the due dates and all of that, because these seminars are super important. Yes, they're boring, but they are important. So you do have to try to pay attention, try to stay alive. They know that you're struggling hardcore because some of them will try to make jokes and they'll give you stretching time and time to go to the bathroom to get drinks and food. But to be honest, they have to just spill out all this information at you, and it is going to be like super, super boring, and you are going to be exhausted just listening to them. So just be prepared for that, but also know that it is really important information, so pay attention, take notes if you want, and know that there will be fun at some point. To save me from all of that boring, awful lecture, there was dinner. Same idea as lunch. We went into the same dining hall, and there was just food everywhere. I think that's when the taco bar was. I can't remember if it was for dinner or for lunch. But one of them had a taco bar and one of them had like barbecue chicken, like a full chicken dinner with like mashed potatoes and everything. It was so unbelievably good. I'm so happy to be going to school there. It was just so good. So we had like another hour for dinner. After dinner, we went back to the dorms for a little bit, and for me, that was the first time that I was meeting my roommate for the night. So the roommates for orientation, you typically don't get to choose. They just give you someone for the night, and that has nothing to do with your roommate for college. You will not necessarily get them again, but just for the night. And so I met her for the first time, and she was really nice. We got along pretty well. I mean, we didn't really get time to know each other very well, but I mean, it was fine. It was cool. And yeah, so we met. I think she went and maybe took a shower beforehand. I just sort of started to set up my bed. Like, I took out my sheets and my pillows and everything because I had just thrown my suitcase in there in the morning. And so now I actually tried to set it up. And I also got changed into more comfortable clothes because they had set up volleyball for later. I'll get to that. It was so fun. But so they do give you a little bit of downtime. I would definitely recommend getting to know your roommate, getting to know what their sleeping patterns are, stuff like that. My roommate actually went to bed super early, so it was good to know that she was more of an early person so that when I came in later that I wouldn't be really bothering her. We talked about her prom had just happened, stuff like that, and just got to know each other a little bit. After that, we were called to what I thought was going to be another terribly boring lecture, but it turned out that I was completely wrong, and it was probably one of the coolest parts of the entire 2 days. Basically, all of the orientation leaders got together and made these skits that were about different scenarios that you might encounter in college and your options and what are the best options, what to do if you make a mistake, and also sort of went through some of the rules of the school that you may not necessarily know about, like what to do if your roommate is doing something like really bad, how to handle like a fight with your roommate, stuff like that, what can happen if you are failing a class, what resources you have available for you. Basically, what would have been packed into like another really awfully boring 2-hour lecture, they made into really funny skits. And they just memorized all their lines. They're just normal students and they memorized all these lines. They were actually really good at acting. It was really funny, and they made them very humorous, very relatable, and so I give them 2 big thumbs up for that because it was really entertaining and really good. And from there, they released us into the world to have 2 hours of free time. So I think you could either just like hang out in your dorm rooms or go to other people's rooms and just kind of like chill out, or there was other activities in other buildings. There was a hall that had bingo and pizza. There were an outdoor volleyball court setup, I guess you could call it. Like, it was like one of the sand pit ones, and they had the lights, like the big lights hanging from the trees, because it was dark. It was like 9 o'clock by this point, and they had all the lights shining on the court, so it was like, it was a really cool setup to be at night for the volleyball. So you couldn't really see any of the spectators that were like watching, because the lights really only shined on the court, but it made you feel like you were in the spotlight when you were playing. So that was really fun, and that's where I really met a lot of awesome people, because you had to form teams of 6. So only knowing Bianca wasn't going to get me very far. We both had to really branch out and find new people, and we played volleyball for like a half hour, and our team was so bad. We lost every single game, but it was so much fun. And I met these awesome friends that we went and played bingo, we ate some pizza, then we went up to the room. And if you saw my graduation vlog, you would have seen the clip of us hanging out and singing Taylor Swift. So if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. The link will be down there. And then after that, we went back to our rooms and just went to sleep. Now, as to what to bring for the night portion of your orientation. Definitely want to bring your own sheets, your own pillows with your own pillowcases. Basically, everything that you might be touching, you kind of want to bring for yourself, because it really grosses me out, like the idea of touching things that other people have been sleeping in. You don't know all that. So I definitely recommend bringing all that. I also am someone who is crazy about comfort when I'm sleeping, so yes, I squished an egg crate mattress topper, is that what those are called? I squished it into the bottom of my suitcase. I actually brought one. So many people laughed at me for bringing that, but it actually became a really good running joke there, and it was the best decision ever, because so many people woke up the next morning like not comfortable, both because it wasn't their own bed and they didn't really feel comfortable with the way the mattress was. But I slept like a baby because I had my wonderful mattress topper, so if you can fit it, definitely bring one. It's totally worth it. Put your sheet over that and then your pillows, and then you will be good to go. And because orientation is during the summer, if you are going somewhere where it is any bit warm, you definitely want to bring a sheet rather than a full-on blanket, because my room was so hot. And my roommate was even smart enough to bring a fan that we put in the window, and we had it going there like the entire day, so it was constantly circulating air before we went to sleep, and it was still so brutally hot in there. So definitely don't go for like a huge heavy comforter or warm fuzzy blanket, because you will sweat to death. And if you can bring a fan, definitely do it. Even though we were still dying, it would have been so much worse if we didn't have that. So if you can fit that in somehow, make it happen. Day 2, we had to wake up at like 5 in the morning. And personally, I'm not like a morning or a night person necessarily. I'm like a right in the middle. I'm like a 10 p.m. to like 8 a.m. person. So I'm like right in the middle there. And so waking up at 5 after waking up at 4 the day before to travel all the way to school, I was dead tired. I was like a zombie rolling out of bed, so I literally like walked my way all the way to breakfast, which again, like all the other meals in the past, was absolutely delicious. So many different options. I think I had like a fruit salad with like a bagel, and I think I made like a little bagel sandwich out of like ham and cheese, and then had my little fruit salad. It was delicious. It was something that I would never have time to make myself now, so I'm really excited next year to just have all of that like at my disposal, super easy to get. So yeah, breakfast was really awesome, and it helped me wake up a little bit. And I also met another awesome group of girls that were all engineers actually. So with my major being business, I never really got to meet them until breakfast where everyone was together, and they were super awesome. So shout out to all of you guys, and I talked to all of them still, so that was really cool. Definitely use mealtime to make friends, because usually they will set up like giant tables for like 10 to 12 people, so it's a great opportunity to meet a lot of new people. Now honestly, I think that morning of day 2 was probably the worst out of the entire orientation, because we had to go to a lecture hall and sit still for 4 hours straight just listening to people talk. And again, they were super helpful, and I don't want to sound mean to them because they did an awesome job presenting, but it was rough to sit still for 4 hours and try to stay awake after staying up till like midnight the night before and then having to get up at 5. It was just rough. And rough is all I can say. So just prepare if you have any lectures. Try to keep yourself going. If there's coffee at breakfast, I didn't think of this. Even though I'm not a huge fan of coffee, I probably still would have gone for it knowing what I know now. But try your best to pep yourself up and just know that it might be a little rough. Again, rescued from lectures was a wonderful best friend called lunch, and it was amazing once again. I can't remember what they had. I'm so mad because they had like a special at every meal. I forgot to mention at breakfast there were omelets, like a whole omelet station. That line was like out the door of kids. It was crazy. So I didn't go for that yet, but I'm definitely going to hop on that train when I actually go there. But they had like hot dogs, hamburgers, pizza, grilled cheese. I loved their grilled cheese so much. So I had like grilled cheese and fries. That was really good. So again, like the food just stole my heart there. It was so good. And now for what was the most nerve-wracking for me personally. This was like the scariest point of orientation because we had to make our schedules. So basically they set us up with a laptop and with like lists of all the classes and just gave us 3 hours to just go for it, to just start signing up for classes. And like it was really scary because there was kids in like all the different rooms, like a ton of people that were orientation. I think it was like almost half the people out of like, so like maybe like 200 people were all on the system trying to sign up for the same general ed classes at once. So you had to like pick your class and hit submit. And like I kept getting denied classes because people were literally taking the seat that I had chosen like right before I did. It was so like I had literally like my heart was racing because I was so nervous because there was this math class that I absolutely needed and I kept getting blocked out of it. And eventually at the end, like after like 5 or 6 tries, there was nothing left and I was like, oh my god, like I don't even know what I'm supposed to do because it was a prereq for so much that if I didn't get it in first semester, it was going to mess me up so much. But luckily we got to meet with our advisors too, and mine is so awesome. I was so excited to have her. She completely understands where I want to be because I am hoping to graduate in 3 years and then spend my final year in London as like a study abroad program. She totally supported me in that and then was able to find me an alternate math class that has the same like idea. It works as a prereq for the same classes that I want to go for. So thank you so much for helping me get out of that terribly sticky situation. And she was super friendly and nice and just made me so excited to just keep going with the college process. And she helped me finish up my schedule, and there are some little bumps in it, you know. I have 8 a.m. economics 3 days a week, which is a little rough, but my last class on Friday ends at 11 a.m. and then I'm just done for the day. So I am super excited about that and just really happy and relieved that I got all the classes that I needed and that my schedule is done. And that was just a really great way to kind of finish off orientation, to really have my schedule, and it just felt so real that I was really going to be starting college next year, that these were the classes I was going to be in, this is how it was going to be. And that was just really awesome. And finally, the very last thing we did at orientation was get our little ID cards. So here mine is. It's in my little Vera Bradley. And I got this little Vera Bradley for my graduation party actually. And I'm really excited because it just holds my ID card, which is super important because this gets you into everything. So that is it for my orientation experience. I hope that this video was really helpful, especially if you're having some nerves about going to an orientation or maybe just curious about what it's all like and how to really make the best out of your orientation experience. I hope that was really helpful, and I will see you in my next video. Sincerely, your future self.